to the action in Parliament. And finally, there was some activity in Parliament. The Rajya Sabha today passing the Juvenile Justice Act after a 5-hour-long discussion. This comes 3 years after Jyoti Singh was gang raped in a moving bus in New Delhi. The law effectively lowers the age of a juvenile from 18 to 16 years, but this will only apply in cases of heinous crimes like rape and murder. Any crime which invokes a minimum punishment of 7 years in jail is considered a heinous crime. A juvenile cannot be sentenced to life imprisonment or given the death penalty. This new law will not help Jyoti Singh's family as it cannot be applied retrospectively. Meanwhile, the left party staged a walkout in the upper house after the speaker declined CPIM leader Sitaram Yechury's request to send the bill to a Parliament Select Committee for further deliberation. Here's a sneak peek of the 5-hour-long discussion in the Rajya Sabha.
Now, if the board decides that this child committed this crime in a childlike fashion, even if it is rape, he will get the benefit of the doubt and go in for 3 years into reform school, as the Nirbhaya boy did.
अलग व्यवस्था होनी चाहिए इनके रखने की. Juvenile Justice Board जो है, उसको और broad base बनाने की जरूरत है.
The governments have been promising to increase the number of courts and disposing all the cases. Have been able to do it. So, under these circumstances, this board, which is going to be set up, will they really be able to, will they be experts who will really be able to understand what this child went through?
We will pass this law today. And we must do it, keeping in mind that on one side, you have child rights activists who are doing their job, and on the other side, there may be a lynch mob mentality, some people say, who are expressing themselves.
There is a saying by Jessica Lang who says, there can be no better measure of our governance than the way we treat our children, and no greater failing on our part than to allow them to be subjected to violence, abuse, or exploitation. Passing this bill would be amounting to abuse of our children because we have not applied our mind.
The bills must be specific about the definition of heinous offences, and I request the Minister to amend the definition of heinous offences to mean murder, rape, terrorism, trafficking, and not leave it as broad as it is today, because on this clarity hinges our decision to treat a child as an adult.
We should be discussing about the horrible condition of our juvenile homes and how they can be improved. Lowering the age will be a step backwards and a knee-jerk reaction.
The highlights of the debate in the upper house on the act. Jyoti Singh's parents were present in the house as juvenile justice was being passed. Here's their reaction along with the Child Development Minister Maneka Gandhi.
हमारी लड़ाई सफल तो नहीं हुई. हमारी लड़ाई तो तभी सफल होगी जब सबको फांसी होगी. लेकिन ये है कि बीच में जो करते हैं कि अब ऐसा कोई करके बाहर नहीं आएगा, उसको सजा जरूर मिलेगी.
आपको लगता है कि जो ये बिल पारित हुआ है, ये एक तरीके से श्रद्धांजलि दी गई है आपकी बेटी को ये बिल पास करके, क्योंकि आप काफी लंबे समय से लड़ रहे हैं?
नहीं, मेरी बेटी को श्रद्धांजलि नहीं मिली क्योंकि उसके 5 मुजरिम जिंदा हैं.
And I'm happy that the bill has been passed by unanimous vote by everybody in the Rajya Sabha. That makes it much stronger.
Well, little too late, do you think? Because a lot has been spoken about, a lot has been debated. There was pressure from the society as well.
No, even if it had been passed before, it could not have done anything in the case of this boy. But certainly, it will help many other potential victims.
So the Juvenile Justice Bill being passed by the Upper House of Parliament. Joining us now for a quick comment is Nobel laureate, child rights activist Kailash Satyarthi. Mr. Satyarthi, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. I understand that in principle you support the Juvenile Justice Bill that's been cleared by the Rajya Sabha today. But through the 5-hour-long discussion and debate that we saw in Parliament, several pertinent concerns have been raised. What are your key concerns with the bill that has been cleared by Parliament today?
The most important thing is the implementation or enforcement part. We have experienced in the past that during the last 15 years of the past bill, it has not been properly implemented, and that's why a large number of children could not get their due protection and care under the law. And luckily, this time the new bill has a very strong and robust provision for care and protection of juveniles under the age of 18. The good thing actually, everybody should know that no child below the age of 18 would be sent to a normal jail and instead be sent to a special place of safety till the age of 21, and that would further be reviewed. So it is not decreasing the age of a juvenile, but only tackling the most heinous crimes committed by a juvenile, and that is not even sending that juvenile to a normal jail. So I think we should also see other aspects of it, that it brings the strong provision about the issues of selling and buying of children, then bonded labor and other things. It also asks for the compulsory registration of juvenile or what we call the child care homes or child homes, which was not the case before. So there are so many good things actually we have to know about this law. But the most important thing is the rehabilitation framework. It has to be time-bound, and that should be brought under the rules, which would be framed soon. And the government has to show the utmost political will to ensure that all children, whether it's a crime by a child, on a child, the focus has to be the reform and restitution and rehabilitation of every single juvenile.
Mr. Satyarthi, you've raised pertinent issues, and those are some of the concerns that parliamentarians raised about the bill today. But specifically, the issues that were raised were about the robustness of the Juvenile Justice Board and how that would need to be given a lot of careful thought and consideration. And also, the not leaving heinous crimes as very broad so that it will be specific. Your comments on those two concerns that were specifically raised in Parliament.
I think these are important issues, and that they have to be dealt under the rules which would be framed after a few months. And I would demand that such rules should be framed, and all these concerns which are raised today and also being raised by some of other human rights and child rights groups should be addressed in the rules.
All right. My final question to you, Mr. Satyarthi, of course, a lot will depend on the rules as and when they are drafted and put together. What is it that you would like the government to prioritize in drafting those rules to ensure effective implementation and also safeguard the interests of what could now will be called adults and were earlier called minors?
I would say that one most important thing is the time frame or the kind of time-bound delivery of justice in such cases, whether the crime is committed against a child or by a child, the justice should be delivered in a time-bound manner. And secondly, there should be very strong provision for the rehabilitation, reintegration, and restitution of all those children who are also the victims of various forms of abuse and exploitation.
All right, Mr. Satyarthi, we'll leave it there. Appreciate you joining us. Nobel laureate Kailash Satyarthi with his comments on the Juvenile Justice Bill that's been cleared by the Rajya Sabha.